podcast called Jellison Podcast.
First ever type 1 diabetic in UFC history.
Doing fine. Nice to be with you.
Get out!
He's like, yeah. My tunnel vision and my periphery, I'm like off field.
Hey, you know how it is, though. Hey, when your team.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
What's up, everyone? We're back with another episode of the Jellison Podcast. I have a very special guest, Mr. Jon Octeus, joining me all the way from Japan. Jon, how are you?
I'm doing really well, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on doing this. I know it's pretty late over there. So
No
I'm glad we could do this. But I mean, like just before we got on here, you were talking about season just getting started over in Japan. So how have things been going for you?
Well, it started off 14 days of quarantine, stuck in a hotel. That was kind of tough because I felt like I was in jail. But it gave me some time to sit back and just really start plotting out, the coming year. It's my second year in Japan, second go around. So first year was an adjustment. I definitely found out a lot about myself, spent a lot of time by myself with the borders being closed in Japan. They're still closed now, but this 2 weeks in quarantine gave me an opportunity to sit back and just kind of plot out what I wanted to get done throughout the year. So that was good. Well, not being able to hoop for 14 days wasn't, but just having the time to just sit back and kind of think about what I wanted to do was great for me. And then once I got out of quarantine, met the team, met the coaches, hit the ground running, went to a few different practices, got all the plays down, played this weekend. We got 2 wins this weekend. It was also my birthday weekend, so I got 2 dubs for my 30th birthday. So it's been good so far.
Yeah, man. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
I mean, how tough is that to try to do as much exercise as you can? I mean, whatever it may be, try to stay somewhat in shape and then jump right back into practices and then games right after that quarantine.
The team did a pretty good job of setting me up in the hotel. I had a bike, I had a bench, dumbbells, kettlebells, and some bands. So I worked out twice a day with what I had in there. So I didn't come out of shape. I've been working out all summer. So I came out, my wind felt good, but you can't really simulate basketball practices.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much working out you're doing back home or whatever it is. Like once you get into the nick of things and you start getting bodies put on your, elbows put on your body and falling on the ground, it's been an adjustment. Like throughout the interview, you might see me crack my back a few times. But the team, they eased my way in. I came out. I didn't practice initially. I just got a workout in with the coaching staff and the managers just to get my legs up under me. They got me in the weight room. And then I had 2 hard practices before we played our first game, just 2 hard practices. And first game, it was great, getting my feet under me. My wind felt really good. Second game, same thing. After the game, I was hurting. I'm still hurting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the difference for you in terms of being in shape and then being in basketball shape? Because I know those are 2 completely different things.
It's just getting used to the soreness again. Season ended in May for us last year, beginning of May. And then it's October 23rd and I'm playing my first game. So, that's quite a few months, not really being in the swing of things. Usually guys that go overseas, they sign in August. I signed late. But I guess we'll get into that as the interview goes on. But you can't really simulate it. Like I said, I don't care how much working out you're doing at home. It's just totally different once you hit the court. You know what I'm saying? It's a different kind of wind. It's a different kind of physicality involved. Your body has to just get used to that. So over these next couple of days, I'm just going to make sure I'm staying hydrated and taking care of myself. And next weekend, we have the Emperor's Cup. So I'll be ready for it.
Well, good luck in that. But talk a little bit about why it was that you kind of signed late, like you mentioned.
So I had a pretty decent season last year. I finished like second in efficiency in minutes played in the league. And I kind of knew what the bar was as far as pay for a guy at my position with what I was doing. So the first couple offers in the beginning of the summer, they just weren't what I wanted. Kind of to the point where I just, told my agent like, hey, I have a lot of things going on outside of basketball. If I don't get the offer I want, I don't think I want to sacrifice another year being away from my family, being away from my girlfriend, being away from my businesses if the money's not right. So my agent completely agreed with me. So turned down a few offers actually throughout the summer just because it wasn't what I wanted. And I was fine with that. I was willing to, go a year without playing or just hang it up completely because like I said, I got so many things going on off the court that I'm just, I felt comfortable being able to step away, from the game, unless I got what I wanted. I kind of bet on myself type situation. So the summer went on. I got COVID like in July, played in the TBT, but barely because it kind of hit me. I didn't notice that it hit me until I hit the court because I was out for like 17 days. I didn't do anything. But got back home, got right back into my business stuff. And I had this team call late September, gave me an offer. I kind of had a conversation with my agent, like it's close, but it's not what I want. And the next call that I got was like, all right, Jo, we're going to give you what you want. You ready to go? You got to leave in 2 days. So I was like, oh, okay. All right, let's make it happen. So kind of had to shut some things down back home and basically get packed up and ready to go within 48 hours. And I was on the plane back to Japan.
It's really interesting to look at like how the business goes in overseas basketball, especially. I mean, obviously over here in the States, we see, I mean, it's super public. The first day free agency starts July 1st. You're seeing deals pop off everywhere. But I mean, overseas, us here in the States, we don't know like the terms of it, like how much you guys are getting paid and all that. I mean, what is the business aspect like playing over there?
Especially because of the pandemic and everything that's been going on, the market is extremely volatile, really. A lot of teams were hit hard. So guys were having to take pay cuts. A lot of guys are honestly saying like, hey, like if I'm taking that much of a pay cut, I'll just stop playing basketball. I kind of see that, especially guys around my age that have families. Like I said, it's a huge sacrifice coming over here, being away from your family for 10 months at a time. And then being in a country where the borders are closed, it makes it even harder. So it's not easy. It's not easy and it's not for everybody. I know a lot of guys that will just rock out the G League, for their whole career because they just rather be home. Me, on the other hand, I did that for 3 years. Great experience. But financially, it wasn't the best situation. I think my first year in the G League, the pay was like $25K, which is just tough to live. And I know guys that were doing it with kids and a family. So, they would have to play in the G League. Once G League season ends, they would have to go overseas for a few months. So then they're playing year round, not really spending time with their family, but trying to provide, trying to chase the dream. The overseas lifestyle is not easy and it's not for everybody. But I found a way to make the best of it at every stop that I've made. I wouldn't have come back to Japan if I didn't love it. This is an amazing country. So it's, as far as free agency and all that stuff, it just differs depending on the player, depending on who it is. I'm not sure if those notifications, you can hear those, but they're going off.
Oh yeah, you're good though.
All right, cool. But yeah, it's for me, my situation, I'm extremely blessed to be in the situation that I'm in. But I know a lot of guys are just, really, really grinding it out. And it's just going to be a grind regardless. So
I find it really interesting that, you and like you mentioned, a lot of guys are, they're willing to hang it up if they don't get what they want. It's more power to the players and knowing their worth. But I find that really is that like a common thing in overseas basketball?
It just depends on the individual. I know guys that for them financially, they don't care as long as they're playing. But at a certain point, you have to figure out how you're going to provide for, just depending on what you want in your life. If you want a family, if you want to be financially stable, you have to start making decisions based upon that. So I know certain markets, are extremely down right now. They're paying late. Some guys running the teams that promise them that they're going to get this, but then when they get there, they don't get paid for 2 months. And I've heard those horror stories before. Yeah, it's hard to gauge because, again, like representation wise, how are you going to get your money? Are you going to sue? Yeah, you can go to Fiba or you can try to figure it out, but that process is dragged along. Then you got to think of lawyer fees. Then it's a tough environment. So I leave that, a lot of times, you got to leave that on your agent. And I happen to have a really, really good agent that really, really cares about us. So he typically, from everybody that I've spoken to in the agency, he doesn't put us in situations where we have to deal with those type of things. And he's been in it long enough to where he knows, like, okay, this situation wouldn't be good for this particular person, or this situation won't be good because I understand what type of organization that is. And I think that's extremely important, just having the right representation. Dave Gasman is my agent, and he does an amazing job. He did an amazing job getting me here last year and getting me back again. So I think that's extremely important for these overseas guys to make sure that they have somebody that actually does care about them and actually has their best benefits or their situation at heart.
Yeah, I know you talked about kind of if you have one of those situations, you could maybe go to FIBA. Is there any other like body that kind of protects you guys other than them and your agents?
Nah, not that I'm aware of. Again, it's a dog eat dog world out there. So like I said, I've heard a lot of horror stories. I know guys that still are waiting on paychecks from 2 years ago. And going through the system and the FIBA system and trying to get paid. And it's, like I said, it's tough sometimes. But it all comes down to, again, your agent and you having a good gauge on where you're going and what organizations you're dealing with. Like I said, I've been extremely lucky. Germany, I was playing in Pro A Germany, and that organization was amazing. They didn't have the most money in the league, but I was paid on time and they took care of everything when I needed it. Anything that I ever asked for, they tried to make sure that they can provide it. And same thing with the teams in Japan. I was always paid on time. So I never had to deal with any of that stuff, thank God.
Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, the horror stories that you've heard, overseas basketball is no joke.
Nah.
I've gotten the opportunity to talk to a lot of guys that have played all over the world. And some of the things they've said to me, I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a completely different world than what it would be in like the G League or the NBA here. So we're not really accustomed to it. We don't really know about it.
Yeah.
But like, what was that process like of kind of getting acclimated to playing overseas after playing in the G League, like you mentioned?
Well, my first year after Purdue, I actually signed in Germany to Ludwigsburg for a decent contract for a rookie. And unfortunately, like 3 weeks into the season, I get out there and somebody like lands on my knee. I have a knee injury, season's over. That situation was like, extremely shocking to me because that was my first injury ever. And playing sports my whole life, I had never had a major injury before. They told me, you know, to get surgery out there, but a lot of the doctors in the States, especially our Purdue doctor, was just like, hey, that surgery only works 1 out of 3 times. If I were you, I would just come back home and I'd rehab. So that's what I did. I went back to Purdue. Coach Payne and Purdue set me up with, you know, an apartment to come back and rehab and be around the guys and kind of help out. So that was an amazing experience for me because I got to rehab for free. We talk about the financial issue thing. So I had to come back and rehab, and Chad did a great job. The trainer did a great job in getting me back to health. And I was actually able to go into the G League with the Cat in Charge at the end of the season. They were in the playoffs. And I got to play a few games with them and play behind Quinn Cook. So that was good for me, you know, getting my confidence back, you know, coming off of an injury. And the turnaround was like amazingly fast. I was supposed to be out for like a year and some change. And I got to Purdue beginning of December, and I went out to Canton in March. So it was an extremely like quick bounce back, and it ended up working out for me. So playing in those few games, it was good because the next year I got drafted into the G League with Chicago, and that was their first season with the Windy City Bulls. Played behind Spencer Dinwiddie for a little bit, and Will Bynum had a decent season. Second year, probably having the best season of my career, my professional career, and then another freak injury. So that's another thing that we deal with. We deal with, you know, the randoms, you know, the random situations that may pop up, and you kind of have to adjust to those. And yeah, so I got injured my second year in the G League. I had 29 with like 5 minutes left in the game. Our team just came back. Actually, on the play that I got hurt, I passed it to our big. He ended up laying it up to take the lead, and I went down. And that experience was again just a random, you know, like just out of the blue injury that kind of just shaped the way that I think now, as far as like why I'm always willing to bet on myself, especially when it comes to basketball. If you want, I could continue about that, but all right, I'll just keep going. Yeah, so I got injured. I went to I remember kind of blacking out and then waking up in the ambulance, and apparently I was like tearing up, and my trainer was like, "You okay?" And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's gonna be great." And they're looking at me like, you were just crying." And I was like, "Oh, was I? All right, well, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be fine." And they're just looking at me like, "All right, bud, like, I'm glad your spirits are high." And we get to the hospital, we take x-rays, and the doctor comes back and he's just like, "There's no broken bones, but if I was to show you my ankle, it was like the opposite direction." And he's like, "Let's take more x-rays because it doesn't make sense." So we go back in there again, take some more x-rays. By now, I'm finally feeling the pain. My adrenaline like brushed off. I'm just like, "Yo, I need some medicine. Like, I need something." And it comes back and just like, "Yeah, man, you didn't break any bones," which is very odd considering the way your ankle looks. But you did tear like every ligament in your ankle. So what they did was they just put my ankle back together, and they told me a year to 12 to 14 months, I should be fine. I didn't have to get any like surgery repairs on any of the ligaments because it was pretty much blown up. Everything was blown up inside my ankle. And your body, apparently when that happens, your body is able to send whatever it is it needs to send to that area to heal itself. So that's what ended up happening. 3 months later, I was back in the gym form shooting. Like my body, I don't know, it just responded like so well. I changed my diet tremendously. 3 months later, I was back in the gym form shooting, and then form shooting turned to working out. And then by May, I was dunking again. Actually, by April, I was dunking again. And the doctor was just like, yo, you need to slow down. I'm just like, nah, I really don't. I need to just keep, pushing this. Because I was trying to make it in time to play in summer league. Because I was in contact, obviously, with Chicago still. And I ended up not playing the summer league, but I ended up going back to the G League the following season, playing that season, and then going to Germany the next season, which was another great experience for me. So, but that injury definitely changed my mindset as far as like, this could be over at any point in time. I've always been a very business-oriented guy. I would have small random businesses throughout the summer, especially when I was in the G League. Obviously, 25,000 is not going to get the job done. So I had a concierge service with one of my guys from Purdue. He was from Miami. We started a concierge service in Miami that we ran throughout the summers called Jovial Playground, which was pretty successful while we were there, while we were doing that. And then the following year, I was supposed to go back to Chicago again. And I had heard that they were signing a couple guys that played my position. And me and my agent just decided, kind of last minute that, hey, we should probably head over waters. And that was probably one of the best decisions that we made collectively, because I ended up going to Phoenix Hagen in Pro A Germany. They were 1-9 by the time I got there. So they were, on the verge of getting regulated. And by the end of the season, we were in the playoffs. We were the last team in the playoffs. So we turned up the season. I was having a great season. The team was going well. And then COVID hit. So we didn't get to actually get to the playoffs. But it was a great season for me. It showed people overseas that, I had what it takes. And then I ended up in Japan the following season. I kind of told myself the whole season, though. I told my teammates, they were like, yeah, man, you gonna come back to Germany? I was like, no, I'm probably gonna go somewhere in Asia. I had no idea, but I was just like, yeah, I'm probably gonna go somewhere in Asia. And they're like, yeah, how do you know? You talking to any team? No, I'm not talking to anybody. I just know I'm gonna end up in Asia. So I kind of manifested that, and I'm glad I did.
I could break down a couple different things that you talked about there, but is that something that you guys think about? Like, oh, where would be a cool place to play? Oh, I want to go play there. Like at the end of the season, because overseas, from my understanding, it's a lot of like 1-year deals. So you could bounce around all over the world. You could play 5 years, play on 5 different continents if you wanted to.
Yes, 1000%. I know a lot of guys, they prefer certain places for whatever reason. Everybody's different. For me, Europe is cool, but I just wanted to get out to Asia. I knew the market was more stable in Asia as well. And if you were to get to Asia, you can make a really, really good living for yourself. So that was what was on my mind. I also wanted to indulge myself in a different culture. I had been in Germany before. I had been in Europe. So I was just like, let me see something else. I kind of want to see something different. And Japan is definitely different. Definitely different in a good way, So, everybody has their preferences. I know guys who love Europe. I know guys who are in South America and they love South America. I know guys that they don't care where they're at as long as they're playing and as long as they're getting paid, so it just depends on the individual and what they have in their mind for what they want and how they want to go about doing things.
What's the basketball culture like over there compared to Europe and even the States?
I could just only speak on Japan, but basketball, the fan bases are amazing. And I say that because it's kind of weird how supportive they are for not only the team in their town, but the teams that come into their town. You'd be in America, and if you have an away game, it's really an away game. You got people cursing at you, you got all this stuff going on. And, I used to feed off of that type of stuff, going into somebody else's gym and just, putting a smacking on them. But in Asia, it's like such a well, in Japan, it's such a nice culture, and everybody's so nice to each other that the away fans will clap for you. If you do something cool, if you do something like, that's amazing, you'll hear standing ovations. Like the fans will tweet you, or the fans will hit you up on Instagram and say, great game. Like, even though you beat my team, great game. Like, you were amazing out there. So definitely a different culture, a very supportive culture. For all the things that they do, honestly, they're just extremely nice people. So just imagine bringing that to the game of basketball. I was real heavy in I love hearing people talk during the game, or like, kind of challenge you during the game. And in Japan, you'll get that like amongst the Americans, but you won't necessarily get that amongst the Japanese players, because it's more of like a respect thing. Like, yeah, I respect what you're doing. Like, in our culture, like we like to talk, we like to bump heads, we like to, be intimidating in whatever way that we can. So here it's a little different. Here it's just like, I respect you. Like, let's just play, so it's very, very much so calm. And everybody kind of adapts to that environment.
I mean, we just saw that with, I think it was Rondo. I don't know if you saw this. Rondo puts a hand in some dude's face. Dude smacked it. Last year, we got dude spitting on Trae Young. I mean, I had Sam Decker on a little bit, like a week or two after that, and he started telling me crazy ass stories about like people throwing pipe bombs onto the court and batteries while he's shooting free throws.
Overseas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Greece. I think it was Greece. But I mean, it's completely different than Japan. Japan's so like you said, supportive, and it's crazy to hear all the differences. I mean, when you go to each spot.
For sure. There was times where, because I think we lost my first game in Germany. We lost our first game, and I remember our home crowd was just like booing us, because at that point we're 1-10. So, and I just got there, and I'm just looking up at the crowd, and I see a couple like middle fingers pop up, and I'm just like, yo, I just got here, just chill, like just chill out, please, like give us a second to like feel each other out. And then by the end of the season, everybody's like, yeah, so it's kind of funny to see, like, I mean, people are just, very passionate, passionate about their sport, passionate about their teams, or not passionate about their teams, and you'll feel it. Like, there's no censors, there's no anything. Like, you'll get all the names in the book, your social media get ran through, just depending on what team you're on, or what country you're in, or what city you're in. It just narrows down. It just depends. But yeah, Japan's not like that whatsoever, where everybody's calm, everybody's chill. After the game, even when win or lose, you talk to the home crowd, you talk about the game. They clap for you, you give your bows, at the end of the game to every part of the section of the crowd, and you keep it moving. So, it's just different. It's just different. But I've heard crazy stories though.
They're insane. I mean, it makes me laugh. I mean, like when you first got over there last year, I mean, how long did it take you to get used to the whole like bowing and being super, like, I don't want to say proper, but like just the way that their culture is over there?
I don't know, my personality, I'm very bubbly and very nice naturally. So I'm always smiling, I'm always laughing. So for me, it was just an easy transition, honestly. Like, oh, you guys want us to smile all the time? Perfect. I do that all the time anyway, like teammates, on the court, off the court, they're very, I don't even know what the word is, but you joke around. Like, there's a seriousness involved, but it's a lot of like we're going to have fun doing this. You know what I'm saying? And the crowd likes to see like you having fun, like whether you're winning or losing, they want to see that you appreciate, this opportunity that you have, So for me, I'm like positive thought, positive energy, positive life. That's kind of what I live by. So even when things are going bad, maybe there was a couple times last year when the referees were just like, kind of. Yeah, we'll talk. Actually, yeah, we'll talk about that a little later. The referees, goodness. But for the most part, like you couldn't really like knock me and put me into a mode where I was like down or extremely sad about something. Like we would lose games, and you just gotta keep moving on. It's 60 games in a season. You know what I'm saying? So, and usually if you lose a game, we play a lot of back-to-backs, like Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sundays. So if you lose a game, you got another chance next day, to get back into the swing of things. Whereas in Europe, sometimes, unless you're playing in Euro League or Euro Cup, or Champions League, you play one game a week. So you'll play a game and then you don't have another chance to get back right until the following week. So that's another reason why it's like, if I go to Europe, I have to go to a team that is playing in the Euro League or playing multiple games per week, because that one game a week stuff and then the amount of practices, I just wanted to avoid that. Yeah, for me, I'm just like, yeah, nah. And Asia's just different, so I mean, we still practice and stuff like that, but we have 2 games a week, and especially with this team that I'm on, playing for a player's coach. He played for 20 years in Japan. JR, he actually played at UCLA, won a national championship, I think in 1999. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But he's a player's coach and he understands, like, he played the game. So like, we're not getting killed at practice. Sometimes in Europe you'll get, no offense against my Serbian coaches, but you'll get a Serbian coach that'll just like really like practice 3 hours a day, twice a day, super hard. Mm-hmm. That kind of takes the fun out of the game for me, because it's important to have the basketball, your job, and then time to do something outside of that. You know what I'm saying? And I find a lot of guys, like, they struggle being overseas because of that reason. It's just a lot of just this going on. So,
I mean, talk about, all the different things that you got going on outside of basketball. I mean, even your Instagram handle is More Than a Hooper. I mean, talk about how important that is to you.
So yeah, I grabbed that handle when I was at Colorado State. I actually had a good friend of mine, Bernard Blake. We were sitting there talking, and I think at the time my handle was like, I'm just a hooper. Right, I'm just a hooper. Yeah, that's what it was. And we were having a conversation. I was just telling him about, all the things that I want to do. And I had said it. I was like, yeah, bro, but at the end of the day, like, I'm more than a hooper. And he was like, oh shit, that sounds fire. I was like, oh yeah, it does. So I switched my handle then, and from then I just took that approach everywhere I went. Like I said, I would have random businesses, throughout my career, to kind of give me opportunities to just work on the entrepreneurial skills, to fail, because I'm a firm believer in, like, you should fail as many times as you possibly can so you can learn as much as you can. So I just dabbled into a lot of things. Some things that I have going on right now, I have a lot of things going on right now, but I have a meal prep company in Orlando that I actually put a pause on this year, just because I have this vision and I want to execute that vision. It's going to take some capital to do so. So coming back over here was perfect, because it gives me another year to kind of refine everything. Because I was doing pretty well throughout the summer in Miami and in Orlando, doing the meal prepping and catering. And it came down to, all right, I'm ready to expand, but the capital thing was, all right, if you want to expand, you're going to need such and such amount. This is what you're going to need. So again, like, coming here, being able to get that capital, also, plan further on exactly how I want to approach it, is extremely, like, I think, beneficial for me, because I have quite a bit of time on my hands outside of basketball to do so. So I have More Than a Hooper's Diet, my meal prep company. I also, last year, and it's a work in progress, but I am going to launch a sake brand. And sake is like rice wine. So I'm gonna launch that. I haven't talked about it much, just because that process is extremely, like, I have to have a lot of things in place in order for it to happen. So slowly but surely, I'm just working on that little by little. I don't know how to turn off my notifications, but
Yeah, you're good.
all right. So,
Yeah, hey, I'm gonna need some of that sake. I never had that before.
hey, yo, actually, if you send me your address, I'll get you some.
Right
Like,
now?
legit. Yeah, like I can get you some. I have like over 100 bottles in the States.
Dude, I'm not a drinker, but
I'm not either.
but I'll try.
But I do like to have like a glass of wine with dinner or a beer every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But if you give me your address, I'll definitely ship you one for sure.
All right, bet. Thanks.
So I got that going. It's called Two Swords. It's a work in progress. I'm gonna work on it this year too as well. But I have a great manufacturer out of Shiga, which is the last place that I played. And they've had their business in their family for like 200 years, something like that. Yeah, so it's premium sake. It's great stuff. I'm super excited, but I'm also going to take my time with that one just because it's one of those projects that like after I retire, I can start to really put my foot on it and stuff like that. So I have that going on. And I also took a job in September with a crypto and NFT based company. They're launching a platform. They're called Saitama. They have a cryptocurrency coin that is out right now. It's only been around for about 6 months. But I'm the head of influencer marketing and recruitment. So what I do is I just go find influencers within the space and outside of the space, whether it's athletes, entertainers, people with the following, to kind of bring them on board with the company and, kind of push the needle. So I've been working on that. Initially, it was supposed to be just Asia that I focused on. But then it turned into me contacting all my guys in the NBA, asking them if they wanted to get NFTs created and, asking people like, do you even know about NFTs or crypto and that type of deal? So I've jumped into that space and it's been extremely lucrative over the last, like I said, I took the job in September and my crypto account is looking really, really nice right now. So, but I've always been, even last year, I got into options trading, on the side and just working on, building my portfolio and just dabbling into a lot of different things. They talk about most millionaires and billionaires have 8 sources of income or 7 or whatever it is. So, I've always been thinking about, all right, well, I got one for sure. It's basketball. What else can I do? What else can I do when I'm done playing basketball? Or what else do I want to do? Those questions, I was asking those questions, as soon as I had my first injury. I was just like, yo, this thing could be gone in a second. I don't want to be in limbo if that ever happens. Or I want to just be able to leave the game when I want to leave the game. Because some people, I feel like they're forced out. They just didn't get another job. They just didn't get another contract. And I always told myself, like, I'm never going to like beat myself up if that happens, because I'm always going to have things in place and things in line for me to, to kind of fall back on, or not even fall back on, but push forward with. I like to say that instead. But what else? What else do I got going on? Oh yeah, I'm launching my own NFT.
You got so much. You got too much going on, dude.
Nah, there's no such thing as too much, man. More than. More than. But yeah, I'm launching my own NFT. It's called Ninja Guru. You guys can check it out on Instagram. I have a Discord. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the NFT space, but it's booming right now.
I'm not super familiar with it.
I'll send you some stuff. Stuff, and it's definitely worth getting into, or at least looking, giving it a look. It's all still within the cryptocurrency realm. Like I said, Saitama is launching their platform, which combines crypto trading, NFT creations, and NFT marketplaces, education. I'm probably going to clip this part just so I can give to the company, because it's an amazing company. The people behind it, they're super big into giving back to the community. I'm starting a nonprofit with my family called More Than Us. We just filed for our paperwork, and I'm just all about just giving back. How can I give back? I always tell myself like, oh, I'm gonna be a billionaire, and then when I become a billionaire, that'll be the day that I'm not a billionaire anymore, because I'm gonna give half of it away. And that's the kind of mindset that I kind of, not even kind of, but I have been envisioning for a while now. Don't ask me how I'm going to be a billionaire, because I really don't know. But hopefully one of these thousands of things that I'm doing will put me in position to do so. So yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of guys, I mean, obviously it depends on, where you went to school and like what you majored in and things like that. But a lot of guys don't know how to get that thing started, how to run a business. I mean, where did you kind of learn all those skills, or are you kind of learning on the fly?
Okay, fun fact about me. I was in 4th grade, and this is in Miami. I was in 4th grade, and my mom started like Mary Kay. I don't know if you are familiar, but it's like a beauty line back in the day.
Mom started that?
No, she didn't start it. She started working for Mary Kay. So selling the products. And she did it like for a couple weeks, and then I noticed that she stopped doing it, right? And I'm seeing all these like products like just sitting in our garage. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's like creeping up on like Christmas time. And I remember like watching my mom make like a basket, and then with like this wrapping and using a blow dryer to like make it look really nice. So I walked to the dollar store, bought baskets, bought a whole bunch of like Christmas decoration type things, and created like 20 baskets with those products, right? And she had a list of the products, and I went door to door and sold all her products for her. Like, and I'm in 4th or 5th grade, one of those. And I sold all those products for her. And she came to the garage one day and she's like, yo, where's my stuff? And then I just came out with a huge like wad of money. And I was just like, I sold it all for you. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, I sold it all for you. She was like, all right, I can't even take the money. Like, you keep the money, like you can buy whatever you want. And then from that point, like I was the kid in school that had the backpack with no folder. I mean, with a folder, a piece of paper, and a pencil, and then full of candy and chips and stuff like that. So I was always like selling candy in school, like semi getting in trouble because they're like, John, you can't do that. But I got good grades, so I got away with it. And it was just that. And from that point on, like I've always been the kid that, my mom used to work a lot. So she used to say like, all right, like if you want something, get half the money, because at this point I'm selling candy at school, I'm selling t-shirts, buying and flipping like shoes, like all just random stuff, just 6th, 7th, 8th grade. This is funny thinking about it. And she would always be like, if you get half the money, I'll pay for the other half. So I think it got to 8th grade and she was like, yo, that deal is off the table. Like, you're making too much money. I can't pay for half of everything. You got to pay for it yourself. But ever since a kid, like I just always, told myself that I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to find a way to be financially stable. I'm going to find a way to kind of raise the bar. And it's funny. I just kept it rolling. I'm always constantly thinking about the next move, the next play. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, just the learning process is always fun to me. So I've just always been like that.
That's something I love hearing about. Not even just with athletes, with anyone in general, trying and doing all these different things. Like, I have these things in my head, but I've never been able to kind of put them into motion. Obviously aside from the podcast, but yeah, I absolutely love hearing about that and how successful you guys are becoming.
Yeah, I think it's I know you said for everybody, which is great, but especially for the athletes, man, because especially now, like I said, I just turned 30 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And I just know a lot of guys, or I've seen a lot of guys like come to this point where it's just like, oh, hoop is done. and they have no idea what direction to move into. And that is a scary place to be, like an extremely scary place to be, because you've done something pretty much your whole life. Your routine has pretty much been based on what you've been doing, and now it's done. So if any athletes are watching this, like, I encourage you to figure out, like, just essentially just think about it being done tomorrow. If it's done tomorrow, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? And whatever it is that you want to do, start working on that right now. You know, like I said, you have extra time, especially the overseas guys and even the guys in the league. Like, you have extra time throughout your day. You're not in the gym for 24 hours a day. Even if you're sleeping 8 hours, you're not in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much time for you to try to figure out what you want to do and putting that into place. I think the G League did a great job when I was there, establishing the Life After Basketball program. So I would do internships every summer with multiple different companies. And I thought that was one of the best things that they could have done, because it like turns on that switch that, hey, it might be over at some point. So what am I interested in? And they had a multitude of different like programs, to where it was like, you can go to real estate company, Douglas Elliman. I would always go to there because I want to get into real estate when I'm done. But Douglas Elliman was a great like opportunity for me. Like, I tried to go to every single one that they had, because that realm is something that interests me, you know. But Google was that you could go to Google, or you can go to I'm just thinking off the top of my head, Complex. You know what I'm saying? Like, just there's so many different companies that opened up their offices to, the G League and the NBA players as well, to go in and do those internships. And I say, even for the overseas players, even if you don't have, the connections with the G League, find something to do when you're at home, whatever realm it is that you want to enter, find a way to, make a phone call. People love athletes. People love athletes. So make a phone call and say, hey, do you have any internship opportunities? And if they don't, chances are, if you approach them the right way, they'll create an internship opportunity where it'd be like, hey, like, please come into the office and come hang out with us and see what we do on a day-to-day. And that can, I've seen a couple of guys that have gone to, again, Douglas Elliman or whatever it was, and now they're real estate agents, so I think it's extremely important. Ursan Ilyasova, me and him have the same trainer, and he went to one of those programs. And recently I heard that he bought multiple acres in Palm Beach, and he has this project coming up. And I'm just like, yo, and I don't want to speak on it because I'm not sure if he has even put that out there, but it's just like, that's exactly what it's about. He took the time to step back away from hoops and say, like, all right, I'm going to go get into this, and now I'm going to learn. And now he has the capital, so he's going to do, whatever project it is that he's going to do. And I just think that, I think all of us need to, as far as athletes, need to start thinking about when it's done, when the ball starts bouncing.
And I mean, you're a perfect example. There's so many things that guys can do. It's just whatever you have a passion for. You could, I think 99%, maybe 100% of the guys could go be trainers at the very least.
Yep.
Could get into coaching, could do things like that, do a podcast, start streaming. There's so many things you could do with your life after basketball. So, it is tough to see guys that don't necessarily have that passion, I guess. Just guys that I liked when I was little, growing up watching and seeing them now, and they're like, they don't really have a direction.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. But I think the more we have platforms like this, to where, it can, like I said, turn that switch on, I think that's extremely important. I think it's great. The pandemic happened, and a lot of people started trying to figure out what they were going to do, because we had no idea what would happen. The seasons just ended abruptly. So everybody was like, are we even going to have a season next year? And if we do, what is it going to entail? So I think a lot of guys, took advantage of that. And you see, my guy, CJ Fair, perfect example. He has a real estate business. that he's doing really well with right now. That's just somebody off the top of my head. Farrakhan Hall, who I played in the G League with, he played at Memphis. Another example of a person who he started his own fashion line called Still Community, and it's all based around Memphis and where he's from. And like those are the type of things that like I love seeing, you know, especially, you know, those are my guys, you know, those are my guys, so I can say that. But those are the type of things that sparks the love in my heart, because I'm just like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have basketball, but now we don't need it. You know what I'm saying? Because we have something else on the back end or the front end. Sorry, I've been trying to stop saying the back end because I don't want to put it in the back. You know what I'm saying? Let's put it out in front of us, because that is exactly what it is. It's something that we can look forward to in the future.
Mhm. And even, I mean, even guys like one of your boys, Raphael.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
an amazing. He has an event on Thursday.
Yeah, I saw Payne and all those guys are going to be there. So with Ray D, I don't know if he's announced it. I talked to him. Actually, on my way to Japan, I called him. I was like, yo, I got a huge layover in Atlanta. He's like, layover, where you going? I was like, nobody knows yet, but I'm going back to Japan. And he was like, all right, cool. I'm about to come pick you up. So he picked me up. We went and grabbed food. He told me everything that he had going on, which I already knew everything that he had going on, but he had some good news, some really good news, as far as like things going on in Fort Wayne. And what he's been able to do, essentially like stepping away from corporate America and focusing on giving back to the community, that right there is like huge. Because these are things that we've talked about. These are things that we've said that we wanted to do, and to see everything that he's doing come to fruition and all the support that he's been getting, it's a beautiful thing, man. It is a beautiful thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the opportunity. I had him on the podcast, and we've created a good relationship. I worked one of his camps with Lou and AJ. The stuff I absolutely love the stuff he's doing. I mean, he's like just that like family culture. I think he got that. I mean, probably his whole life, but I mean, Purdue has that. I mean, he's really embodying that, and just, I mean, doing it everywhere. I mean, he's going to Lafayette, Indy, Fort Wayne, down in Georgia.
Atlanta.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bro.
And
he's like,
dude, it's absolutely love
it. He's like, J.O., when we gonna do a camp in Miami or Orlando? And I'm like, all right, bro, this summer. And then I get to rolling with my business stuff, and he's just like, yo, bro, what's up with the camp? And I'm just like, oh man, like I got so much going on right now, bro. Can you do it for me? Like, and that's exactly the last conversation we had. He's like, yo, next summer when you come home, like, you just let me know what city you want to do it in, and then we'll do it. You know, because there's no reason you shouldn't have a camp going on. I was just like, bro, you're 100% right. You're 1,000% right.
I mean, he just did one with Deshaun Thomas too, back in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. He was playing in Japan. He was playing in Japan last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
shot school. I mean, yeah, I could rave about Raphael for freaking hours. Yeah. He's the best. But I know we went over time, so I'm sorry about that. But
no, I'm good, bro. I'm like, tomorrow is a light day. Like, the day doesn't start till way later, so I'm just chilling. I'm probably gonna cook some food actually once we get off.
Okay. I just had a couple more things. Obviously, with me being a Purdue guy, we gotta talk about them. I mean, talk about that recruiting process for the second time going to transferring to Purdue, and kind of what all went into that.
Okay, so initially, and I don't think I've told anybody this story before. All right, so I told Colorado State I was leaving to go spend my fifth year somewhere else. And my recruitment opened up, and so many schools hit me up at that moment. I think Purdue hit me up, and my high school coach was like, hey, yo, Purdue hit me up. Do you want to talk to him? And then I went and looked at Purdue's record the year before, and I was like, nah, this is the true God honest truthful story. I was like, nah, I'm cool. But my high school coach was like, yo, they got Matt Painter, like, you know what I'm saying? I heard a lot of good things about him. And, you know, I really trust my high school coach. He's like my father figure growing up in high school. So I was like, nah, I'm cool on Purdue. And so I ended up choosing UCLA. I was going to be missing like 70% of my classes or something like that. So they had built like a tutoring program around me trying to go to this like 1 year international business master's program. Like it was just a lot of like moving parts, and last minute, the dean of the program was just like, yo, Jon, like this is not fair to the rest of my students, you know, so we can't do this. Long story short, my recruitment opens back up, but it's October and school started everywhere, and Purdue calls again. And it's funny that Purdue calls again because I'm already on my way to Indiana because my godmother lives in Indiana. She has a home there. And the UCLA coaches set me up with Joey Burton, who's a trainer and who's a really, really good trainer, set me up with Joey. And Purdue calls and they're like, yo, are you interested? And I was like, well, I'm in Indiana. Let me take a visit. So I take a visit and I walk into the gym and I see big AJ and I see big Isaac. And I'm just like, wait, you got 2 7-footers? That's the first thing I said. Like, you got 2 7-footers? Like, yeah. And then I watched them practice and I was like, how old are the rest of these guys? And they were like, oh, they're freshmen. I was like, really? And at this point, I'm just like, and they got y'all picked last in the Big Ten? Like, I think we were picked either last or second to last in the Big Ten going into the season. I was like, really? They're like, yeah, we had a down year last year. And I was like, all right. Went to Coach Paint's office. Paint gave me a few words and I was like, yeah, man, where do I sign? I was like, I'm so sorry I let this slip out the first time, like, but where do I sign? So I signed. They got me into a master's program there, and the rest is history. It was a great, I had never like talked to anybody at Purdue prior to that. I just, with everything that was going on, trying to graduate, leaving Colorado State, because I still had to graduate. I had to take 15 credits in summer. So I'm doing all this stuff, and I was working as well. Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough summer. I had to really grind it out. So I didn't want to have to deal with talking to every single school. So I kind of let my, the people around me kind of help me out and gauge that. But I ended up choosing Purdue. And that was probably the best decision that ever happened to me because like I'm a Boiler for life now, and that's never gonna change. And it's a good feeling to be a Boiler. Like I go into the airport in Indiana and it's like, Octeus? And I'm just like, yeah, man, what's up? Oh, what's up, man? And whether they're IU fans or Indiana State fans, Purdue fans, Notre Dame, like the Indiana basketball environment is just something that was just so, I grew up in a football state in Florida. So we don't really have, that type of hype around, college sports, college basketball, sorry. And it was just a good feeling being there. I just felt everybody helped me feel right at home. The young guys they're all like my little brothers. I still talk to everybody. The coaching staff, I still talk to everybody. It's just, like that family oriented environment is exactly what it is. Like Boiler for life. So
yeah, how that was going to be my next question. How real is that family culture? Because I feel like all the Purdue guys I've had on, they just rave about how close they are all together.
Yeah. I talked about how, I left Purdue and got hurt in Germany. And the first person I call is, I called Chad, the trainer.
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, bro, I just hurt my knee. And then next thing you know, Paint gives me a call. And he's like, well, if you need to come back here to rehab, just let me know. And I was like, well, I do. That right there shows you that, I lived with Ryan, Grady, and PJ the following year. Mm-hmm. And I got to see, how hard, those guys are working. I got to be in the gym with them, that type of environment, like them taking care of me essentially, because I had no idea. I mean, that was my first injury ever. I never experienced an injury before. So when that happened, I really didn't know what was going to come of it. And being able to go back home, Lafayette, you know what I'm saying? Home, literally, and be able to not only work on my game, work on my body. I also was, training kids, because one of the best family members were we had their gym, which gave me a job. So like, just again, that environment, being in Lafayette, man, I can't. If I could send my son there, or I don't have any kids yet, or my daughter there, I'm 100% trying to get them to be Boilermakers, because it's that important. It's literally that genuine.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about this. You left an impact at Purdue that very few transfers have. I mean, you weren't the first, because just before you was like Sterling Carter and Eric Peck. They came in as one-year guys. But I mean, you kind of started the mold of Matt Painter going out and getting those grad transfer guards, followed by like Johnny Hill, Spike. And then you can keep Evan Boudreaux. And then, I mean, Purdue still, I mean, like you said, they still love you and you love them. It is really cool to me that you could come in and make that impact like you did.
I appreciate that. Honestly, they made it easy on me. The guys really did make it easy on me. Like, the transition was a smooth transition from start to finish. I remember we started off the season a little slow, but Coach Paint was just like, yo, we're going to be good. Just keep grinding. And then we get into Big Ten play. And it's just like, you just see like slowly but surely we start to climb the ladder. And I think what did we finish that year? I think we finished tied for second with Michigan State, or maybe third. But like I said, to finish that and being picked last, that was an amazing accomplishment. And I was just glad to be a part of it. And then to see the growth continue afterwards, when I was gone, because like I was there for that second year. And then, just being around that group, seeing that group grow. And now I got little PJs on the part of the coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? Like that, all that stuff is just a beautiful thing, man. I just love it.
And then, I mean, last thing I got to bring up, obviously, you're dunk against IU. I mean, I went back and watched that play. Like, I ended up watching it probably like 25 times, but I remember when I was at home, I was in my basement watching, and I was like, Vince threw the ball, and it like kind of went out towards half court. I was like, what the hell is Vince doing? And then you just beeline right to the basket and drug your nuts on Colin Hartman's face. I mean, how much do people kind of come up to you and say that, especially when you're back in Indiana? How much do they talk about that?
Yeah, that play kind of like just, it doesn't matter anything else that you did, J.O., and at Purdue. You did that. It was one of those things. Like, so first off, let's talk about walking into Assembly Hall and the crowd already being there, and it being like just this rocked out house, like people screaming at you. Like, that was one of the best experiences I ever had in my life, because that was the first time the crowd kind of just shut up for a second. And Isaac's celebration, like, obviously I didn't see his celebration until after the game, and then Sports Center top 10 play. And I hadn't gone out in Purdue at all up until that point. Like, I hadn't like gone to any parties or the bars or anything. And I remember Ray D saying, hey bro, we going out tonight. And I went out and I felt the love, and I was just like, hey, yo, this school is amazing. And it really just, it was just, I mean, I can't really, there's no words for it. I think I won College Dunk of the Year that year. Like, there's just no words for it. And it's partly because of Purdue fans. They were rocking so hard for me, so there's no words. I just, I'm glad I got to be a part of that, that season, just part of that family, part of that play. Just, it's just no words.
Another thing, sorry. What was it like to kind of go into that IU Purdue rivalry as a transfer? And the 2 years before, we had gotten absolutely killed by them. I don't think we hadn't won in a while against them. So what was it like to see those guys, especially like Ray and AJ?
So before the game, they played like a reel of like all the Purdue greats, basically giving us like a pep talk before the game. And I got like goosebumps, like seeing everybody talk about how important that game was. So I was fired up, honestly. And then I walk in the gym, and like I said, like the gym's already rocking 2 hours before the game. It's just like, boom, boom, boom. Like you can't hear anything. Your ears are about to pop. It's crazy in there. Like even our home game when we played them, because I could say I'm 2-0 against IU. I've never lost against them. So that alone is just, it's an amazing thing. I understand how big that rivalry is, and it's probably one of the biggest, top 3, 4, 5 biggest college rivalries. Mm-hmm. So to be a part of that and then come out victorious twice, I can always say that and hold that, against anybody. Christian Wofford, he became a good friend of mine after I left Purdue playing in the TBT, and I always be like, yeah, bro, I'm 2-0 against you guys. I don't care about anything else that happened. I don't care about when you were there. I don't care about anything. I'm 2-0 against you guys. So, but even then, like the IU fans, like I see them all the time, and they're just like, yo, man, I remember you, bro. Like, and they show love, because at the end of the day, it's basketball, and Indiana is such a basketball state, and it's a huge basketball family. So, I appreciate it greatly.
I wish the people on Twitter knew that, because they obviously do not.
Twitter is different though. Twitter is like its own
world.
A zoo. Yeah. And there's no censor on that.
100%. But like I said, we went like 35 minutes over what we were supposed to. So I'm sorry for that.
No, you good.
Hungry and everything like that. But thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we finally got to do this. It's been a long time coming. But best of luck going forward this season, and stay safe.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Send me that address so I can send you that bottle.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, plug everything before we hop off here. Of your social media, businesses, everything like that.
Is it backwards?
No, you're good.
Is it backwards?
No, you're good.
All right, there we go. Follow your boy. Support all my NFT people. Oh, real quick, the NFT that we're dropping. So I have a couple friends that have one of my childhood friends. He has a nonprofit organization called Team Up. We're going to be donating some proceeds to his nonprofit organization, who's also teaming up with an ex-UConn player, Thule. She has a nonprofit organization called Wake that deals with empowering women in sport. So they're building a gym in Guinea, and we're going to donate some of our proceeds to that as well. So I think that's a pretty cool project, just a way for me to give back. And I'm also going to be donating some proceeds to my nonprofit, which we're in the works right now. We launch next month. It's called Ninja Guru NFT on Instagram. And from there, you can gain as much information as you want. And then just follow me on Instagram at More Than a Hooper, and just follow my journey. I think I'm going to start a YouTube page. I've been talking about starting a YouTube page for a while.
You need to.
I have so much footage. The editing part of it. Hey, yo, if anybody likes to edit, let me know. Slide in my DMs and let me know, because that part of it is, that's the part that gets me.
Yeah, it's a pain. But
having me on, man. sorry it took so long, but I think it worked out perfectly because, you know, I had more to talk about, I had more to.
Hey, I could go for 2 hours if I wanted.
Hey, let's check back in 6 months and see how far we've gotten with some things.
100%. 100%. Hey, thanks.
Right, have a good one.
Later. Bye.